Today's video is going to be about the 340B ESP portal, and it is an overview. It's not meant to be a deep dive, but we're going to talk about some of the common functionality, show some screenshots, and do a walkthrough of some of the more common tasks that you do in the 340B ESP portal. So with that, let's jump right in. And this is kind of not the home screen, but you can see over in the left-hand corner all the tabs from the ESP portal, and this is an actual screenshot right out of the portal. This is the entity profile. One of the things you can do from this screen is check on your pharmacies and check on the manufacturers to see what the status is. So all the manufacturers are listed across the top here. So if you clicked on one, Amgen, it would list all your pharmacies out, and it would list the status as in either they are approved, they are, I don't know if the denied is the right word, or if they are pending if you are just starting up and you're waiting on it to go live. But this shows you the status of each pharmacy, and you can click on each manufacturer to see it. So if you designate one contract pharmacy for Merck, then you should see all your pharmacies listed. They should all be listed as a no or a denied or not approved. One should be approved or should be pending. If you're an FQHC and you get a unlimited pharmacies, then you should see them basically all being approved. But you can check on it here. You can also see from here the status, I think, of the last submission. And you shouldn't be upset like when we see 2 conforming claims and 10 that didn't. That was an initial submission. So we had stuff that went back for a very long period of time, and I think you're only allowed to go back 45 days. So this is just telling me, okay, we had claims that were outside the window. Now, it's always good to check to see why you're seeing these numbers, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong that needs to be corrected. Okay. Also, from this screen, you can make your contract pharmacy designations, which we're going to talk about. So when you have to go through and pick one contract pharmacy for each manufacturer, this is the screen where you start that process by clicking on the Make Designations. And when you click on this Make Designations button here, what comes up is this screen, and this lists all the manufacturers in order. It starts with AbbVie, then goes to Amgen, just goes right down the list. You simply click on yes that you want to make a designation. It's going to ask you to confirm, I think, reading a policy or something. Then you pick which pharmacy you want. It's that simple to make the designation here. Now, to do all the analysis behind the scenes to say which pharmacy should I pick is a pretty time-consuming and complex process. But once you get to actually picking it here, this is the easy part. There is also a safeguard built in here. So let's say you are an FQHC and you are exempt from a manufacturer's actions, it's going to prompt you that says you don't need to make a contract pharmacy designation for this manufacturer. So it's a safeguard so that if you are exempt and you're allowed multiple ones, it's going to prompt you to stop you from making a pharmacy designation when you don't need to, when you're allowed to have all of them. But this part is very simple, actually, when you make the designation. Again, all the work is in the analysis to decide which pharmacy is the best option for your covered entity. Once you have done all that, the most common task that you're going to do twice a month basically is to submit claims, and that is what this screen is for. So when you come in here, you click on the claims data. That's where you do the submission. You can see the status of previous claims, and again, the fact that we have 25% conforming, that doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong that you need to go fix. It's good to view the report or download it to see why it is 25%. But in this case, again, it was older claims that were submitted that were outside the processing window because it was our initial submission. But yeah, you can view the status of your files that have been submitted here. And when you want to start a submission, you just simply click this button right here, and that takes you to the screen where you start the submission process of claims. And let's go to that. So the first thing you have to do in submitting claims is you're going to have to set up a template for each TPA that you deal with. Now, what I mean by setting up a template is these are the fields that ESP wants, okay? And there are actually only 7 of them. There's going to be additional fields listed here, but notice it says required here. There are going to be some when you scroll down the list that are not required. But what happens is they want a field contract entity ID. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory what it is. But when you run a report from your TPA's website, it may not have that exact name. In this case, the report from the TPA's website has the name Covered Entity OPA 340B ID. So you just simply, it's going to show you all your fields over here when you set up the template. You click and drag and say this field from the TPA website maps to this field on the ESP portal, and you need to do that for every TPA that you deal with. And again, it's not that difficult. There are only 7 fields that you're required to map over, and most people only submit those 7 fields. They don't want to submit any additional information. And then when you have got your template set up, you've got your report ran, you formatted the columns properly, you've deleted the columns that you don't need to submit, that's when you click on attach the file. And this is where you actually attach the file and submit the claims. Now, when I talked about those 7 required fields, this is it. I did a little mapping here in Excel to say this is the required field. This is what the field name is in the TPA website. So you can see which fields from the TPA map to the ESP portal. I also included a couple of additional fields here in yellow that usually people don't submit. Actually, I don't know anybody that does, but if you have additional fields that you choose to submit, you just kind of map them over just like you do the required ones. But most people, like I said, pay attention to where it says required and where it says don't, and they're only submitting the minimum in. So this is kind of just what the template and mapping would look like, and this shows you what these 7 fields are that are required. And then again, those yellow ones are not, I just put them in as an example. So when you go in and you want to upload a file, you click on attach the file, and then it's going to prompt you to go out and find the file wherever you saved it on your network or hard drive or wherever you save it. And then it tells you if there are errors. So if there are things that don't conform to the way ESP likes it, it's going to tell you there are errors, that you have to clear those errors. Now, the errors have to be cleared because you'll notice that as long as we've got this little red thing here that says errors, save and submit is grayed out. So you can't submit a file with errors. You have to correct them before they get submitted. Now, when you see errors here, you need to go over and click on Data, and then the subsequent screen will have an option to click on Original File, and that's how you see where the problems are. So let's see what that looks like. But it's important you click Data and then Original File so you can see where your errors are. And this is pretty common. Until you get familiar with it, you're going to have some errors, and I set this up intentionally so you could see what the errors are, or how the error process works, which is somewhat cumbersome, but we can get through it. So here we go. When you click on Data and Original File, now you're seeing what ESP is looking at, okay? And blue is good, and this reddish pink is bad. So anything reddish pink is where your errors are. Okay, so that's the stuff that you have to clear. In this case, the error is that it's not an 11-digit NDC. It has leading zeros that have been left off. Now, ESP doesn't tell you what the errors are. It just says there's an error in this cell by highlighting it in red. It doesn't tell you what it is or how to fix it, which makes it somewhat cumbersome. And you can't fix it within ESP. So I can't go in and click on this cell and add zeros and make it okay. You have to go back to your original spreadsheet, fix it in your original spreadsheet, resave it, reattach it, kind of redo the whole process. So that's a little bit cumbersome. The bigger part is where it doesn't tell you exactly what the error is. You got to figure it out. But in this case, I did this intentionally. It's an 11-digit NDC. But when you have errors, it's important that you scroll through and go all the way down and all the way left or right, because you may have errors in additional columns, and the whole column may not be an error. So if I scrolled all the way down here, when I got to the bigger NDC numbers that are 11 digits, they would be in blue. So it's important to scroll through to find all the errors, and then you have to, again, go back to the spreadsheet, fix them in your spreadsheet, resave your spreadsheet, reattach it, kind of redo the whole process, and then you can submit it. And once you get it all corrected, this error message here will go away and the save and submit will not be grayed out. You click it, you're submitted, and you're done. So that is an overview of the 340B ESP portal. Again, meant to be an overview, not meant to be a comprehensive deep dive. But if you need help with the portal or have any questions or comments, 340B Max is here for all your 340B needs, not just the ESP portal. So please contact us if you need help with anything. And if you have questions, comments on this video or suggestions for an additional video, please either leave it in the comments section for the video or contact me directly. Always love to hear the feedback on these, and always love to hear suggestions for other topics that you might want to see in a video. So hope this was helpful. Again, not meant to be a deep dive, but meant to be just an overview. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support, and I will look forward to your feedback. Have a great day, everybody.